Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling, bitch, I'm humble.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to CryptoEMC. My name is Rudo. I'm the chart artist. And with me is S&P 500 Lee. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you. And you?
I'm okay. I actually found out that there's 1 day and how many minutes left for the WSOT Bybit competition, and I've yet to place a trade. So I'm going to be busy the next day to try and get myself high up the rankings, apparently, because I'm still at zero.
Your hand.
Listen, I've been very busy. Like I said to everybody, I've been doing a hell of a lot of admin. I couldn't trade that account as well. But okay, I want to get some action in there. So I'm going to be busy with that. Today, everybody that's here, we said we'll keep it simple, light. It's Friday. So I promise I'm going to try and confuse the shit out of you. And Lee will keep it simple, light. Is that a deal? Lee, what do you have for us that's simple and light?
What's simple and light?
Yeah, he's bullish. I'm bearish. So that's simple and light.
Yeah.
Friday again. Friday. We choose Fridays to do this. I want to go down and he wants it to go up. So it's a bit of a problem, guys. We're going to try and arm wrestle it out for you. And hopefully we leave you all confused and crazy and with a little bit of info so you can utilize on your own setups. Okay, Lee, big thing first before we go. Today, new GDP figures are going to get released. Now, remember, these are periodical releases, guys. So there is a 0.8% leeway that they give themselves, but it's going to be relevant. And this is an interesting chart. If I were to say to you yesterday that this is going to look like this, you would have said, hell no, we're definitely going to go for a 100 basis point increase. Now it's back to 50-50. So we need to go and have a look at that data, because that data might have something in it. And maybe, like I said yesterday, our DXY and our oil is playing something, is doing something that most people are not seeing on surface level. So there might be something there. Okay, obviously, guys, we're going to look at Bitcoin. And we've got some alts ready for you as well. So, Lee, I want to ask you to sit back and relax. And I want to ask you guys to hit the share and the like button. And let's get into this. Okay, FibonaccLi.
Yeah, I'm relaxed.
Or are we going to rename you? I also had a different name, Lee 500. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment. Let's give him a new name, because apparently that guy can trade the S&P 500. What is your stats on that? Because I think everybody's itching to get into that Primex BT trade. Or is it already running? Because I saw on the Discord you guys were doing stuff, and I was so busy setting up I couldn't take action on it.
Well, how many trades you wanted as a sample trade?
25. I asked you, give me 25. What do we have?
But yeah, we have 25.
Okay, so what was the stats?
22 wins, 3 losses.
Okay, so even with this amazing strategy, you still get it wrong. Come on, Lee.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
no, you know what?
I
wanted to speed up the process. You wanted 25, so I just gave you 3 losses, so we can go live.
Yeah, Lee's lying. He's lying there. He just faked 3 trades. I'm telling you now, that's Lee. He gets gambling fingers and then he fakes it. Lee, okay, so you're going to show us that in a bit, or maybe to the end. He's got his chart ready, but I don't think it's time to talk about this just yet. Let's leave the pudding for the end. Let's talk about this DXY. Some controversy around the DXY or not, I don't care. The fact of the matter is, big picture, let's quickly reassess. I'm going to hit this thing on the weekly time frame and see if we are reaching a point where there's either a change or a top, or Let's move it to daily. Otherwise, my lines are going to be all skew. And we said yesterday there might be a decorrelation between the DXY and Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin was invented to combat the type of market environment we have just now. So we never know. Just now, Bitcoin succeeds in doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's been practicing to try and do this now for 13 years. So we need to kind of keep our fingers crossed and see what plays out. But nevertheless, let's quickly have a look at this. So big picture wise, we were looking at the supply levels. It went right above it. And I think if we were to zoom and crunch this just a little bit, remember guys, this is a really, really, really big picture. What we have is from the last time we broke structure, when we changed or we tested these bottom demand areas, we created an axis. And like I explained to you guys with these axes, we can then use these lines and start correlating all sorts of levels. And these levels moves through. And for some reason, my chart is all messed up here, Lee. Why is these lines not lining up? I'm going to have to go check on why this is wrong. So I'm not going to move lines now. I'll go and fix it. But the fact of the matter is we're sitting in a situation where we are going to move into this direction. Maybe 120, maybe 115. I'll go get those lines and see. But at the stage, we're in, I wouldn't say price discovery, but if you think about it, the dollar hasn't been this strong since forever. Let's quickly have a look. Let's zoom out. The last time we had a dollar running this strong was in 2001. So that's a crazy thing there. So something just to keep in mind. And yes, this line is looking messy. So maybe I just need to rechart this. But okay, that said, big picture wise, you guys get the idea of how this is moving. Let's talk about oil. So yesterday I said to you guys oil, and I showed you guys how the inflation is kind of skewed. Part of it is, your general consumables, and then energy is also one half of it that plays a big role. And we had energy kind of run away with the market and created all this pressure on everything, which means people have been buckling down in every country. I'm not just talking the US. We've all been feeling that. So buckling down, saying, I'm not buying that additional whatever I wanted this month because the fuel prices is literally killing me. But now with what we have at the moment, we do have a first sign of a weakness. So if I were to take this to a line tool and just show this to you guys, and we start looking at this range here, and I'm just gonna, this is a problem with TradingView with me the whole day, Lee. It's been taking away my buttons. Have you had the same problem?
Not that I noticed this morning. I had another problem a few days ago, where they removed one of the function in TradingView, but not that,
so no matter
particular one.
Okay, so I'm going to slow down because my charts can't keep up with me. Mr. I don't know what you want to call that. Let's flip back to the line tool, guys, and let's get to this. Okay, cool. Now we have oil. If we have a look at this. Oh, I remember sitting through this day. Can you remember that daily?
Yeah.
People started paying people to have oil. If only. We can get back to that. Okay. Interesting one for those that are new. And basically what happened was we had a situation where people were speculating on the price of oil around this level. So speculating on the price of oil, buying a future. There's different future contracts. You can buy perpetual, means I'm not going to take ownership. But there's other future contracts that actually needs to get honored, which means if I've got that contract at the time that it expires, I pay whatever that contract says. And if I bought that contract for less, I make a profit. And if I bought it for more, realistically, I take a loss. That's how these contracts work. But at that date, whoever has the contract, the oil company is going to send you your barrels of crude oil, or whatever the contract was at that stage. And you had people speculating, people like us. You don't see a big oil store here at the back. So if I were buying oil on futures, speculating on the price of what oil was going to happen. And if I look at this chart, oil was going down. So I was speculating that oil is going to go down because the trend is so strong and I'm making money like it's nobody's business. All of a sudden, contract expiry date came. And there was nobody to offload the oil to. So what happened was people were sitting in situations where I'm in an apartment and I've got an oil contract saying that they phoned me up and telling me, where do I deliver the oil to? And people can't get out of their shorts. So subsequently on certain exchanges, oil actually ran into the negative where people were actually paying people to take the contract because they don't want to take ownership of it. So interesting thing. But okay, let's get back to reality and get back to today. So what happens now is we're sitting in a situation where if we look at oil, I hate this drawing tool, I'm always on it. If we're looking at oil here, we're sitting in a situation where we're now getting a lateral structure for the first time. Now, I like lateral structures. That's my bread and butter. That's where I tend to want to trade or always want to explore things. So what do we have at the moment is, up until now, if we take oil from its run here, and we flip it to the line tool just to make things simple on ourselves, we've got a low, we've got a low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low. And now is the first time we're locking in a lower low. So it's maybe the end of a crazy oil run. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, looks really tempting to short the retrace.
It does. It does. I just don't want to be stuck with barrels this time.
Yeah,
so,
where you had your cursor just now, that was the gap, and then on the daily chart,
that sweet spot there at 170. So let's talk oil for a second. It's really off the reservation. I do apologize, guys, but if we have a look at this, that would be a real sweet spot area, and we can probably venture that this area that was resistance, support turned resistance, you can see there, would be an area to start initiate or start thinking about it, because we don't quite know when the move is going to end. So even if we look at the daily, this can still trend on. And now I'm going to go back to the tool I hate the most. It can go even lower. I mean, heaven forbid it goes that fast, but can even go lower, and then that target, just like the Bitcoin 55K, becomes ever so more unrealistic to achieve because of the fact of the distance and the increase that it would need to achieve that level. So that said, this is trending down. If you want to long it, this is the play we did with Bitcoin. Remember at 34K, we got a couple of good buys there. So if you want to long this, you're going to long it over there, hit my 50% FIP there. And there around 93, you might even get a sweet spot to trade that to that area. So now this brings us to this graph over here. 50-50. GDP figures are obviously going to play a role, but the way that oil is going to perform, I think, energy is going to play a big role in the way that this is going to be monitored. Because remember, the GDP figures, the final figures for the second term is coming out on the 28th of this month, which is around the corner. And then we're going to know whether the recession has been priced in or whether there's still some pricing to be had on that. That being said, this relief is going to come to the GDP and the inflation figures. And when the next figures come through, we'll never know. We might see a little bit of a relief, and we might see a turning of the tide. And this might bring us to Bitcoin, big picture-wise, maybe finding some sort of a intermittent floor for now. Okay, so there's my little talk about that. Lee, before you doze off, you see Lee's dozing. He really doesn't care about this shit. He just wants to buy shit and sell shit. So I'm going to ask him now to bring up his chart, and then I'm going to quickly doze off for a bit. So your turn, buddy.
No, I think people want to hear about crypto, CryptoEMC, and now we're talking about oil and the S&P 500,
Okay, so we're going to rebrand. Next week we'll rebrand. Well, it's better than being in a cooking show, buddy. At one stage we were talking about turning this thing into a cooking show. So I would rather still trade than make pancakes with you. Okay. Let's talk S&P 500.
The idea, is to go to the market where you have where you trade the best, and then make some US dollars for once, and then buy this boring market, which is crypto right now, and in the meantime, let's make some USD.
Stock EMC. Welcome to Stock
EMC.
EMC.
Yeah.
So let's see. Okay,
We
Lee,
should do that.
talk to us about your strategy and what's happening there.
Well, these are the starting day. It was 7th of July. So in 1 week, we managed to, on a paper trade, it's 5 here, there's 5 there. That's make 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that's
Okay,
your
so
sample
I
of
can use it
25
for
trades.
next week on.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
3 red smiley face, not happy, where we hit stop losses. Okay. And so 25 minus 3, 22, divided by 25, 88% success rate on that setup on S&P 500. So I'm pretty amazed about the success rate here on that chart. The thing is, like, we are doing exactly the same thing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not have, that kind of success rate yet. And the next step is to try this on certain, on a few alts and see if it works as well. But so far, I'm really excited and happy about these results here from what I can see on S&P 500.
Okay, well, that's good. I like this. Let's park this idea.
And we have a place to trade it as well. And
Yes, we do have a place
PrimeXBT is offering a platform where you can trade S&P 500. I believe they've got oil as well. If you want to short oil,
why not?
Gold as well. Gold they have, and Forex and crypto.
Okay, well then I like this. EMC, everything makes cash, or everyone loses. Yeah, everything. I'm gonna play with that, but I like the angle that you're moving into. EMC, everything makes cash. Okay, right, Lee. So oil and stuff, but now we need to get serious quickly before we have a look at a couple of charts. I'm bearish. You bullish. Why are we differing?
I'm bullish to a certain extent. I was bullish yesterday evening. I don't know if you follow the conversation between all the members and I had. So a lot of people were asking me, for short setup, and I was looking at the chart. I was looking at some data, and say, you know what? I still believe that there's one more leg, to the upper side. And then that's why we paper traded some alts longs. Bitcoin as well, we took a long, and then S&P 500 we took a long, and so far it's playing out, in our favor. So I wish we can go a little bit higher, and I do believe that the CME gap from last week, it's sitting around 20,000 or 21.7, this kind of area. If I remember well.
Open up your chart. I'm going to bring up your chart. Let's talk. Let's get serious.
I don't have the CME feature chart, but we should have a gap somewhere. Let me get the CME future chart. So basically, we are probably targeting where is it? Why is it taking so long to load?
Everything's taking long to load. I'm telling you now, our country is on the don't supply internet list. They probably didn't pay the internet bill as well, just like the electrical bill. Coming through, nothing.
It's so slow to load the chart. Yeah, so that is the gap that is there. There's a big gap here between 21,000, more or less, and 21,780. Okay, so within that drop, we left this gap unfilled. So I wouldn't be surprised that, maybe today, later in the afternoon, we're going back to this kind of level, 21.4, 21.5, before having another maybe try to push the price lower.
And that's kind of
so I'm bullish, smaller time frame.
Yeah, bigger, bearish.
Well, in a bigger time frame, I still think we're inside this consolidation where sellers and buyers are fighting. So far, like we shared yesterday, to me, that chart on the daily is still looking, more in favor of the bulls, because we made a higher high either on this with a candle chart or with the line chart. We did make a higher high. We come back. We did hold the previous low, and now it's gonna be just the natural reaction when this price is gonna go back to this gap and to the 6183 trace from this top to this low. And that is the area where the sellers would wanna fight and try to push the price, and lower. Will they win? Will they lose? No one knows so far.
Okay, so I think then the end of the day, I'm just labeling my trade, and this is a common mistake we all do, guys. I'm looking at, no, I don't want to show my screen now. I'm looking at my trade preference, the time and scale that I want to trade, and for that I'm bearish. But if I were to look at a smaller time frame, I will have been bullish because I kind of want to see the same price action happen. So we're actually not disagreeing today. Funny enough, we are in the same place. So happy days. Okay, let me show you guys this quickly before we move into charts, because it's Friday. I want to end the stream. I want to go to the beach. The sun is shining. It's very nice. So let's quickly do our vegetables. Yesterday we said, spoke to you guys about how the market is stepping. We're getting this little bit of weakness. This is a trick that I thought that the market was going to play to everybody. And I also said to you in a while back, I said, when we looked at the previous way the structure worked, Bitcoin was the only one that gave us a higher high, basically. And the total market cap, which is over here, and the total alt market cap that excludes Bitcoin, which is down at the bottom, didn't give us a higher high back in the previous day. And now where we are now is we've had another higher high. If we have a look at where we are with the total market cap, we've got exactly the same frustrating setup playing out now where we haven't made a higher high. Now I want to point to something out for you guys. Where we had a lot of price agreed upon, support, or in this instance now support loss turned to resistance, is right up close to where we are currently ending up with the total market. So the entire market is getting to a point where they are going to want to know what next, and nobody is going to want to take the action. Meaning resistance is a psychological level. If we all agree upon that this is fair value and we start selling and it goes to a deal, there's going to be a time in the room where we all look at each other and say, I'm not sure, should I buy, shouldn't I buy? That's that point, until somebody influential jumps up and says, I'll buy 10 again, and then we all go buying again. So we're at that point where the total market cap is reaching that point where everybody's now looking at each other. Nobody really wants to commit any further. We're close to a point, so we're at a resistance. So it's something just to keep in mind. Doesn't mean that some big player can come in and buy. Now, when I bring back the total of the alts, I want to quickly have a look at that. The alts is doing exactly the same. We're reaching a point where, if we have a look at this, we're reaching a point where we're sitting at the same resistance. So people are looking at the alts and people are happy. Look at COTI. Alts are moving, everything. But none of the alts have really now gone and made higher highs and week-long, sustainable gains. It's all just these short moves. So everybody's looking at each other everybody's in that room thinking, oh, who's going to make the next move? Because I don't want to be the one making the next move and taking the hit. So if we move back to this area here, we've got total market cap that's not playing with us. We've got the alts that's showing us that we're reaching up into a resistance. And if I move Bitcoin in and I start looking at Bitcoin in the same way, that's why I would say I agree with Lee saying he's bullish for a little bit longer. Can you see that Bitcoin has got a completely different chart running there? And Bitcoin had resistance. Just take these two circles away. Bitcoin had resistance now to go and test still. Up to that area, there's very little, and that's the CME gap that he was talking about. There's very little resistance. So this room still has the ability to give us that option where everybody's going to start saying to ourselves, listen, it's still okay to buy because everybody is buying. And so we just need to monitor and see what the alts do, because if the alts can get above that resistance level while Bitcoin goes to this area, I would still be taking the short, but I would be reluctant to hold it a little bit longer, because now the other half of the market is going to be looking a little bit more rosy. Are they going to be above the resistance? If they're at resistance while Bitcoin gets there, different story. The reality is that the entire room, Bitcoin and the rest of the market's probably going to sit with a situation where everybody's going to turn at each other and look at resistance and say, now what? Somebody makes a decision. And the reality is the scaredest guy first would probably say, well, I'm going to sell everything because I don't know. And that then brings the whole house down, because then everybody feeds off that energy. So just to put that out there for you guys. So Lee, there's my explanation a little bit. And then I said I want to chart a little bit of alts with you guys. So let's rehash COTI. So a while back, spoke to you guys about COTI, and full disclosure, I didn't take this trade. We do a lot of trade setups. We do a lot of charting as well. We can't necessarily take all of them. So this one I cannot celebrate because it's not money in my pocket. But it just shows you the reality and the power of our or some of our strategies, which means not all the alts did this, but this is one of those happy accidents. We had the same play out over there where we had TP1, TP2 hit, and then big picture, I explained to you guys I would want to see it come back down, and it did the same now, and it's on its way for a higher high. So does COTI have the ability to go make that higher high? Yes, but just keep in mind, the total alt market cap is showing us that it's getting to a point where people are unsure. So if you want to buy COTI now at this very moment, thinking that you're going to go and hit that area, I'm going to say to you guys, just be careful because it's very risky. Rather wait for a sensible pullback or a little bit of a structure to form. What do I mean by that? Well, you can see there's a big gap there, there's a big gap there, and there was a big gap there. At all these points where there was big gaps, you can actually use your fib level. Very simple. Start it at the bottom, take it to the top. 23.6, this is the simplest fib strategy that you can use. If we stay above the 23.6, you can even buy the 23.6 because your stop limit will probably be below the 38.2 for that reason. And you can keep tracking that as we go up. But now what we are getting to a point, if you have a look at this, the balance between, it's a 5% balance now between 23.6. Now, if a lot of people are going to FOMO in on this buy, say I buy there at that level, there's going to be a lot of risk volatility that I'm going to have to absorb and be comfortable with in order to hold. So you're going to get to a point as we get closer to the top, people getting more unsure. Should I have bought? It did do well yesterday. It's been showing me that it's been doing well for a while now. Or shouldn't I? And then you get in and out. How many of you guys have done that? Where you actually bought, you go in, you go out, in and out, and you end up then deciding on holding it, and then the trade goes against you on that stage. So that said, 23.6. So COTI for me is a very risky one. What I would love to do is, if we go and have a look at here, you can see how these original areas where we had confluence for some sort of take profit, which was basically resistance levels, lines up with fib levels in the future now, which means that if price goes to these ranges, that would be a good area to grab some COTI, because you can have a realistically tight stop. Now I'm saying realistic, but it's still big, but remember it's an alt, for a hopeful move to about this area over here. And there's another 5% trade there. And if we break through, you know, you're in at least with a good run. And if we don't break through, that's going to be the area where you sell. And if you want, you would short COTI, because that is now a supply zone. That's this type of movement in the opposite direction. And that would be an area for you. If you're new, you'll wait for this to happen first. First needs to come down to this line somewhere. And then you can go and do this. And say to yourself, right, I want to try my hand at a little short. There's going to be my target for short. So I'm going to leave that with you guys for the weekend. And let's see where we end up on this on Monday. Lee, do you have any alts? Did you have a look at anything else?
No, currently my setups, requires me to scan the market every now and then, but specifically every 15 minutes and waiting for the candle close. So I'm not gonna predict what's gonna happen the next move. It's really happened, on that candle.
Well, what we can gonna predict is you don't have any electricity. So for anybody that is not, Lee is running on battery backup. He's powerless, but at least
As you can see, you know, the inverter is shouting already now.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm going to go through the other alts quickly, and then we're going to end. Right. Before I do, I'm going to do this again because yesterday you guys actually helped me out. I'm going to become a like whore again. I'm going to ask you guys, please give us some likes and do a little bit of that. I really appreciate it. So Joe, let us know how many likes there, guys. Please hit that likes so that we can, help spread the love over the YouTube airwaves. While you guys do that, I'll give you the next one that we looked at. I asked all these coins, I asked for them over the Discord, over on the Discord server. So there's a lot of lines. Why do we have a lot of lines? Because this is a GON setup. Now, why do I want to use GON now? Why do I want to come and confuse everybody on a Friday? The reason I want to use GON now, guys, is purely because GON gives us different dynamics when you have a GON box. It gives us the ability of where price would want to react, and it gives us the ability of when price would want to react. Now, that in itself is already a great estimate. But when you take the GON box and you apply the fib circles to it, you have an idea of between where and when support's going to want to be or resistance going to be. So if we have a look at this and we start moving this, maybe let's move it to a 12-hour just to get a little bit more data. You can see how once we reach one of these fib circles, it acts as a resistance barrier, moves back down to a fib level, and then when it's support barrier, it's going to move over to the next resistance barrier, and so forth and so forth. So GON is a really amazing tool to use. Now, I like to use it on big picture setups like this because obviously I'm not too concerned about trading this thing on the 15-minute. So if I look at this on the big picture, what we have at this stage is we've got GON and we've got the retrace basically exhausted to a point. We're sitting at a situation where we're at our final support level. We're at the 786 retrace from this whole move. And now if we start moving in here, we can actually have an idea of where we would want to buy. Now, realistically, this is what most retail traders are going to want to look at. They're going to look at these levels. They're going to draw a trend line like that. And for the breakout traders and everybody that likes to apply that strategy, get above that line, you will probably see a lot of move. Now, if we can get above that line, let's say everything falls on our way, you can see that there's going to be very little resistance because what we have is we've got price that pretty much gapped its way down. So there's still a lot of structure that needs to happen. And this thing will allow us, if this happens, to start getting some good gains, maybe up to this level or up to this level. Either way, there's still a lot of gains to be had there. I mean, up to the first level is 28%. Second level, you can go and do the maths. So what I'm going to do is just going to zoom this out for you guys at this level. And I'm just going to point out to you guys, freeze the screen, copy it over, and utilize this to try and see how it plays out. Now I'm going to move back here and I'm going to zoom into this area over here. I'm going to flip to a smaller time frame just to explain the playbook. Now, why the hell did I get that buy zone over there? So basically the argument is simple at this stage. Because we're reaching the top, we're reaching a point where the room is going to want to look at itself and say, who's going to move first? I don't want to be the one that's the first mover because that's going to be an area where there's going to be a lot of fear. So what I want to do is I would want to be cheap as. Doesn't mean that I'm going to get my entry, but I want to be cheap as. If price goes in this area and it comes back down and makes yet another low, that's going to be seen as very bearish. But what I want to show you guys is if we look at this range here where we printed this structure and price, we only tested it once, and that was literally when we created it. Now, what we've done is we've gone and made higher high structure, moved back, created a gap, a trade gap. And it's that trade gap I expect where price is going to want to fall back to. Should we get a rejection? And it's there where I'm going to want to grab my buy for an option to either go to this level once we get close to this fib range, timing wise. Can be today, even if it wants to fall back down to that range there, or timing wise, it's going to estimate, it's going to give you an idea when that can happen as the candles print and as the Fib circle lines up. So now you've got a good idea of when and where, and now you can just wait and see. So that's going to be the play that I'm going to want to do for Apecoin.
Can you just put the VPVR tool here and see?
I can do that.
think those gaps will align. That gap will align with the buy zone.
Okay. Volume B. I had it. Volume, which one? Where is it? I haven't used it in ages. Volume range, volume profile is that one. Visible range, volume profile. Yeah. Visible range, volume profile. So now you can see there's the trade gap. So it tells you that there wasn't a lot of trading in this area. Thanks, Lee. So if you knew, use that indicator. It's always going to be helpful.
You see, I know how to make it easy.
Okay. Yeah. Probably. It's Friday. It's still fun. It's easy. Come on, guys. It's easy. Let me know in the chat. Is this easy enough to follow? Let's quickly see. Everybody's quiet in the chat. Maybe it's still too complicated. Let me know in the chat. Does the Discord link work? Yes, the Discord link works. Joe, please go test it and let me know if there's some story there. We've only got 91 likes now. Sure. Come on, guys. Give us some more likes. I'm all ears. So we do have a I'm all ears here. Okay, Lee. Next one. I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to call it. So I'll do RUNE. RUNE, same thing. So we've already got the profile logged in. Just going to go a little bit of big picture for you guys. Back to daily. Explain to you guys how I see this. So RUNE is ranging, but it's making lower lows. So it's narrowing its price structure. Okay. So if I look at this, obviously most of the volume will be at the bottom because that's where RUNE accumulated for the run. So on this volume profile should show you exactly that. As price goes up, volume goes down, it creates unsustainable growth because nobody's willing to buy, and then it comes back down to an area where there is fair value. Now, if we move this over to where we are now, look at this structure. I want to just point this out to you guys, that we're sitting right in a situation where RUNE is fighting up against a trend, and we've got a Fib level as support for us. So it does look well. It does look good positioned. My English is letting me down. So I'm going to just undo those two lines. I'm going to zoom into that area why I'm interested in RUNE. Okay, so volume profile should update itself now. For some reason, everything that was supposed to be drawn out here is not yet. So I'm just going to redo that. The thing with RUNE is, as you can see, this is what I wanted to point out to you guys. If we look at this area, where support resistance, it's sitting right here at the top. And there's no gap here. So RUNE, I'm going to take a different playbook. I don't have the reality. It can still go down, but I don't see the need for, if it goes down, for RUNE to have a buy. Even the volume profile supports that. So RUNE is one of that scenarios where I've got the key momentum line. And I would want to see RUNE go and make a higher high and stay above this level. So RUNE is one of those, if you really want to trade it, let it go first. It's like a loved one. Let them go and see if they come back. If they come back, they're yours. Then you can go and make your money. And if it goes, I would at least want to see it get above this trend line as well, because it's no use. It fights itself here and then come down, because then it just confirms that this supply is in fact in play, and it will probably then do something like this or even go down. So that's RUNE for you. RUNE, you have to be sitting on your hands a bit. If you want to grab it now, it's very risky. I would rather want to wait on that one. Smaller time frame, you can also see there is an area around that, but there's no reason for demand to test there. We want to go and make the higher high now. The gap's at the top. It needs to go and work. If it doesn't, you rather want to leave that alone. Okay, that's it. Going to call it a day. Talk about the VPR. VPVR. Lee, just explain the indicator a little bit better for everybody.
Are you sure with that beep behind me? Basically, it's the indicator who shows you all what you can see in your screen. You know, combine all the candles together, and it adjusts itself when you have more candles or less candles, and it gives you an area where you have the most of transactions that happened in the past, and it will give you a small gap where there's close to no transaction that happened within that specific candle. So these are what we call also gaps, imbalance area, fair value gap, whatever name, they're all the same.
You could call it multiple.
Yeah.
So the big thing here is, guys, here's EGLD does exactly the same, but now you can see there, it already went down to test that support level, and the volume has filled it. So that would be the greatest buy, but if that buy would have been there before we had that volume. If you bring this down, I don't know if it's going to equate that now. It isn't going to do that, but that is the fair value, and that's the type of buy that I'm looking for with the other ones. I want to try and see either it's going to do something like this, or it's going to confirm that it wants to get above this area and then just move. So that's the power of this tool. So ever you want to know when to draw and where to draw support and resistance levels, pro top tip, slap on the VPVR and look at areas where there's gaps. And those areas would be the critical support and resistance levels that you need to adhere to. Okay. Lee, that's it. Going to call it a Friday, buddy. S&P 500. Where we at with that? Are you going to go trade it now? Is there a new setup? Or are you going to call it a day with your opinion?
No, I think when there's one last trading day, which is today. So we're gonna try to. I think the members are getting ready. Funded their accounts. So we're gonna try now to print some US dollars with S&P 500.
Okay, is there a setup ready already?
I've been not following that. I see that it's dropping a little bit, but same on the S&P 500. I'm also bullish. I see a lot more potential to go long than short as we speak. So after the show, we're gonna scan this asset.
Yeah, you can see it even gapped. There's a lot of people that trade these gaps. There's these gaps. It even went to the gap now. So I would also be bullish on this one. I have to be honest with you. Okay, cool. That's it. Guys, the beeping is fine. Guys are saying the BP is fine. Your noodles are ready, Lee. So go get your noodles out of the microwave, please.
Microwave is not working with that load shedding, so I'm still waiting for.
Your noodles are cold. Okay, and we did get more likes. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. For everybody watching the show afterwards as well, please give us a little bit of a shout out and a comment so we can see how we can better tailor the information to you should we need to. You're going to get us for the rest of the weekend. You'll get us on the Discord. I'm going to quickly open the Discord. Just want to show you guys what is cooking over there. Opening up the Discord app as we speak. And what and where to go find the information that you would want to need. Because I still see a lot of people can't. So when you go into the Discord, what's going to happen is it's going to look something like this. And what we've done is we've color-coded everything. So the premium group's blue, indicators purple, early supporters orange, and then white. And everything white is basically the public, the general public channels. So when you enter, it's going to obviously give you the welcome message, and it's going to ask you to do a few things. But what it has with it is it's got a lot of other information on how to get into the free premium group. Use the link, fill in the form, and it even comes with support. So if you don't really know how to do it, you can go to support, and because it's labeled blue, all the questions that you might have or should have regarding the premium group will have a little blue color to it. So you don't need to go and read through report scam or FAQs if it doesn't have anything blue, because you won't find any answers relating to things that you want to do there. The same then for indicators. We've got the free indicator as well. Please go and get the free indicator. It comes with a simple strategy, guys. The strategy gives you it just helps you find your it's like training wheels indicator. It's not going to make you rich, but it's going to give you the idea. It's going to give you a decent enough setup for you to find your feet and understand how and where to buy and where not to buy. So you can read through this, read through the lines, load it up, and it will definitely help you a lot. Further than that, guys, if you go over to the public channels, We do have our general chat where we talk to each other, we discuss stuff. So please go be part of the conversation. It's always nice to see your opinions and your thoughts on stuff. And the same then, if you were to expand that a little bit further, you'll see that there's many more trade groups and trade chats where we can talk NFTs, we can talk altcoins, we can talk Bitcoin, and so forth. And keep an eye on the giveaways, because there's a CryptoEMC competition campaign coming through shortly, and I think you guys are going to be very interested in that. As for education as well, we've got small educational areas that's going to start popping up relevant to channels and stuff. These educations being made already. You can see it's got a white label, so it's going to be free, and it's going to be pertaining to indicators, and it's going to be free, and it's going to be pertaining to the premium group. So it's going to help you, and it's easy for you to see how it's going to play out. And then, yeah, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. Be part of the conversation. Come and join us, because we do take a lot of effort, and we spend a lot of time talking to everybody in the group. And yeah, it's there, guys. This is a situation where, you know, you can show you where the water is. You have to decide if you want to join and, you know, get into the water with us. Lee, thanks a lot, buddy. I think that's it. That's it for me, guys. You have a lovely weekend.
I think one of the best way to learn trading is to chat. You know, to chat with other people, to chat within a community, and see. You know, sometimes we share some helpful information by just chatting to other people.
Yeah, and sometimes just to vent, because we all go through emotions. It's one of those things. Sometimes you just want to see that everybody else is. You're not the only one. Okay, Lee, thank you, buddy. I'm looking forward to our first trade. I will send you my money, because you're going to have to trade it for me. I'm going to sit on the beach. And I'll see you guys later. As always, guys, keep hustling.
Keep hustling.